And a good morning to everyone as we welcome you here to 10 Seconds, the XC Off-Road Cast. I'm your host, Rodney Tomlin, as we come to you live from the Total Media Studios in Jackson, Ohio. And, of course, glad to be a big part of all the things that are going on here at Total Media, as well as glad to be able to partner with 10 Seconds Cool and the 10 Seconds XC Off-Road Cast for our live broadcast that we're doing. Now, we had our next guest on 10 Seconds last night. We talked to him for just a few moments on the telephone, and we couldn't get a video link, but we were wanting to get the video link for a couple of different reasons, because we want an opportunity to show folks what we're talking about. And the one thing that we're talking about is our good friend, Mr. Stu Baylor, and we're going to take this opportunity right now to welcome Stewart to the program. Stu, welcome to 10 Seconds. I know you were one of my first guests, if memory serves me correctly, actually. And to have you back here and the storied season that we have witnessed for you this year has been pretty crazy. Last time we saw you race, you nearly won the event, at least in GNCC, and I know you've had some really good runs in the National Enduro Series, which we'll take an opportunity to talk about here in just a few moments. But good morning, and welcome to 10 Seconds, my friend.
Rough morning so far. Spent all night driving, and now trying to get everything ready for the weekend. Obviously, things are a little behind schedule. I think the other guys are worried about getting to the track, and I'm worried about making sure that I've got everything ready to go racing still. So a little bit behind the eight ball, but we're moving in the right direction. I think the first step that we got to take with a new bike is going to be getting some suspension on it. So that's what I'm up in Ohio right now doing. Got a call Tuesday night and try to get everything lined up yesterday, and started driving and got everything in gear, and now we're up here just trying to get everything ready to go.
In Ohio, we're at in Ohio.
I'm just down. I'm not far from the John Penton in Lancaster, Ohio. So my suspension guy took the bike up here, and they're tearing everything down and getting everything ready to go back on the bike now. And going to spend some time dodging some trees and hitting some bumps here for a little bit this afternoon before we go to the GNCC and start pedaling the track tomorrow.
Right. Wow. I mean, short notice. We were talking with you there last night, Stu. You were telling us that this whole deal has come down pretty quick. I mean, obviously, I think everybody knows the story. During the pandemic, there was a news release that you and your team, Sherco, had separated ways, and since that time, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of different rumors and things like that. And I know there's some things that you can and cannot talk about and things of that nature, but just kind of set the backstory to what's going on, and then what led us up to this week, and how little bit of, I mean, just how crunch time things really are right now.
Yeah, I thought everything was going okay. Obviously, I was under a different impression, and I was released from Sherco, and I guess late April, and at that point, I mean, it's mid-season. Everybody's budget's set. There's not a whole lot that you can do at that point. So all I could do is keep pedaling and hope that everything would keep going in the right direction. And since then, I have not really got anything. And it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, obviously, I'm known as the more loose guy, whatever, but that shouldn't affect rides that much. I wouldn't think. I mean, in any other sport in the world, I think. I mean, you can kneel at the American flag in football and still be paid. So I don't understand, what I've done so wrong by cracking a cold one after the race. But apparently people don't like it. I don't know if that's the reason. I'm not really sure, but I haven't been able to get a ride, even with 3 consecutive #1 plates. And actually went out and bought a motorcycle the Friday before National Enduro. Rode it into second that weekend, pulled off another second, and I'm crawling back into the points there at the National Enduro Series. But, as far as GNCC, I've got one bike, or I had one bike, and the the opportunity, I guess, was somewhat there. And I did get an offer from another team, and the offer was basically not necessarily what I was looking for at the time. And it was a little bit early, and I haven't lined up the GNCC since my last race. And I think the offer reflected poor results, and honestly, I don't have any results. So at this point, the best thing for me to do was go and try to line up again. And this past weekend, it was tough. I did a sprint enduro, and I spent as much time working on the motorcycle as I did racing it. And that happens at my level, at any of our level, when you're trying to ride and train on a motorcycle daily at that speed. You're hard on stuff. So it was tough, like knowing that I had one bike to go into this GNCC weekend, and honestly not knowing if it was going to even work out. So the sprint enduro was up till Monday, and I got home Tuesday, and I got a call Tuesday saying that there was an opportunity if I wanted to try it, and I knew it was definitely going to be last minute. So I know that I feel like I'm going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball, but it was an opportunity that is just for one race and kind of playing it by ear from there. But I've got a new bike sitting behind me. So
oh, it's blue.
We'll see how it
is that a TM?
Yeah.
Well, here, let's switch that over again. I want to give a little better shot of that. So there it is, Stu Baylor. Turn around again. That looks like a Yamaha.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, I talked to the AmPro guys, and they said, you know what, along with Yamaha, we're going to give you a shot for the weekend and kind of see where it goes. And it's, I guess you could say, in the dating stages. It was in the dating stages when I was on the Kawasaki. Right now, I'm just trying to find the best fit for myself. And, it's an opportunity that I just couldn't pass. And you miss every shot you don't take. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I'm going to be a little behind as far as testing and everything that goes into running a GNCC. The National Enduro, being able to pull it off on a Friday is a little different. The tracks aren't as rough. It's not 3 hours. You don't, when your body gets tired, it doesn't highlight what the bike's doing. And, in this situation, I don't know if we're going to have enough time to make sure that everything's lined up perfectly. But, this is basically the first race of the season for me as far as GNCC goes. So, I guess there's a lot weighing on it, but at the same time, I'm not going to get my hopes too high. I just want to come in and at least know where I stand and where I've got to build from here.
Right. And the unfortunate thing is, was there any stipulations as to what would give you an opportunity to ride again? You're putting an awful lot of effort and a lot of work into something where you might only get a ride for, counting practice time and everything, 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely no stipulations. It's just more or less kind of seeing where each other stand, and putting the bike in a race condition is going to be the first step. And I want to see where the bike is, and I think they want to see where I am. And right now it's like I said, I don't want to sign anything for next year until I know where I stand and really what I'm worth. I think I'm a podium guy. I definitely know by next season I'll be a podium guy again. But I would love to say that I could go out and try to get a win and be in contention for wins by the end of the season. And if that's the case, that might change everything leading into next season.
Is this something? There's a lot of questions that come to mind right now. Number one, you grew up orange, man. That was the one thing that you kind of prided yourself in, is the fact that you raced the KTM from the youth ranks all the way through, and you you're one of the few that didn't sway any whatsoever throughout your entire career until this year in recent. You know what I mean? I know we've talked about it. It's a hard pill to swallow when you dedicate so much of yourself and time and efforts to try to help, not only yourself but another product and another brand, man. I mean, what's it like being in this situation? I know last year, you had the deal working with Sherco and everything, and you were riding a pretty big wave. I mean, the last year alone has been an amazing yo-yo year. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, man. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, so what's life been like for you? I mean, how are you approaching this? How are you thinking about this? I mean, because you had so much dedicated to one thing, one program, one type of idea, and now all of a sudden in a year's time you're scrambling, and the amazing thing is that you're doing it very well. I mean, it's like the chaos isn't even bothering you any whatsoever.
It's it's hard to hide. It's been 6 months without an income, and I thought I had put enough money away to last myself for a little while, and turns out if you're trying to buy dirt bikes and go racing, a lot of money is not that much. So what I thought was a decent amount of money quickly disappeared. So it's definitely not easy. I mean, I was put into a really difficult position, and I think one of the toughest positions I've seen a rider be put in. And I went from having the big A class and the new trucks and the wake boats and all the toys to selling all my stuff and trying to line back up again. And it's tough. It's a tough decision, and it's a tough call to make. Are we going to go racing, or are we going to go push dirt this week? And I think there was a lot of times that I could have sat on a dozer and made some money that I went pedaling instead. And I still had one goal, the same thing that I've always done. And I had talked to my wife about it, and at some point in the near future, 3 to 5 years, we plan on retiring and having kids. And but I wasn't ready for that yet, and I decided that I was going to give it 3 to 5 more, and that was my plan, and I was going to stick with that. But yeah, as far as being with one brand, I've been with KTM my entire life, not just career. And my support with KTM started back when I was, I believe, 8 or 9 years old through a local rep that then became support through Jack Penton at the GNCCs, and then moving forward, my first year in XC2 at 14 years old, and doing it at a professional level for 10 years there with KTM. And it was just I felt like I was never going to move forward where I was. And I get it. KTM's got the clean cut corporate image, and I'm not that. I got involved with racing because I love racing, and if me enjoying racing changes the way that a company is going to look at me, then that's fine. If you look across the GNCC parking lot, you don't go to campfires and see somebody in a button-up shirt talking professional. You go to a campfire and see somebody with a mullet and a ripped-off T-shirt because he's been pulling quads out of the ditch all day, with a Busch Light in his hand, or a Bud Light, or a Coors Light. I mean, and that's the people that I grew up with, and that's the people that I enjoy being around. So,
and that's the people you relate with, I guess, in a
100%, and exactly, and it's not that I think people have a twisted belief on what I actually do. You're not going to put the bike on a box after 3 hours GNCC if you're drinking all week. So, say that I don't have a cold one after the race by any means, but it's like I said, I think there's a lot of misleading stories, and a long time ago, I just sorry.
Basically, what I was going to say, the image that the good old boy image, the fun-loving, good time Stu Baylor that the fans love so much and people connect with, and I know I see it everywhere. That's what gets the fan base. That's what gets people out. That's what gets people excited. But for whatever reason, that kind of turns the sponsors off, I guess, in a nutshell is what we're saying then, huh?
Yeah, 100%. And if I've got to change the way that the way that I'm perceived, then that's fine with me. Years ago, there's stories. People tell a story. You drink one beer and suddenly you're an alcoholic, whatever it may be.
Right. Right.
And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, tell the stories. It is what it is. I didn't deny it. I didn't admit nor deny it. It is what it is. And people like to tell stories. Now, granted, I'd had good times, but I was also, people are looking at this, and I was a 18-year-old kid making a couple $100,000 a year and riding my motorcycle for a living. So, I guess you're gonna have fun. I mean, I was thrown into the world fast. So, I guess most people get their college days out of their way, and for me, mine overlapped with racing, and I guess I lived too much on the "you only live once" slogan. No, I don't want to say, I still enjoy to have fun. I still go to the races to have fun, but in the last 2 years, for sure, I mean, everything's completely changed. I would say, well, about 3 years ago, I got hooked up with a trainer who actually passed away, the KTM driver, Nate Martin, and his first thing is he was like, dude, you gotta slow down, you gotta settle down. He's like, people want to believe that you're doing that stuff, go for it. But the biggest thing is if you really want to win, you're gonna have to change what you're doing. And I was I guess I was 22, 23, and I was like, you know what, racing is what I want to do, and that's where I set my focus. And since then, I've had fun with it, but it's serious through the work week. I get my miles in. I make sure that I'm in the gym every day, and there's a whole lot more going into it than just showing up and drinking a Coors Light and going racing, as people believe. But
those stories, they do get over embellished a little bit, and I get it, man. I mean, it's hard not to live in that limelight. If people are digging it, why not go with it? You know what I mean? And it really, I mean, you're one of the most loved riders out there. I think you and I have had the conversation before. The sport kind of needs that bad boy, so to speak. Even though the things that you're doing under normal circumstances are not bad things. I mean, you're just living a normal 20-something-year-old young man's life that, is a country guy. You go hunting, you drink your beer, you go bow fishing, you do, you hoot, you holler, you go mud running, you do things. I mean, that's normal stuff. People connect with that. People understand that. But unfortunately, the corporate world looks at it a little bit differently, I guess. So, So you said, I'm willing to make that change. Are you willing to go corporate? Are we going to see a more corporatized Stu Baylor in the future? Or are you going to try to ride the fence and keep it both ways? I mean, that would be, in my opinion, if I was a sponsor, I would have to say that's my guy, just simply because of the people that follow you. I mean, people, if you buy a Kawasaki, they buy a Kawasaki. If you buy a Yamaha, they buy a Yamaha. If you buy a Honda, they buy a Honda. I mean, there's people out there that follow you like that.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't want to be the corporate puppet. I don't want to be the guy that gets on the podium and says the Ryan Dungey speech. That's not fun, and that doesn't sell bikes. There's more Ryan Dungey haters than Ryan Dungey lovers, in my personal opinion. Now, granted, whether you love or hate the guy, you can't say anything bad about him, aside from he's boring. You can definitely dig a little deeper if you want to say bad things about myself, but you also can't be relatable to Ryan Dungey, and I feel that I'm definitely relatable, as you said. And for me, I see these things. I mean, just sitting in this shop right here, I go and buy a Kawasaki, and I get a Snapchat from my suspension guy of 6 new Kawasaki forks laying on the bench. Who do you think sold them? I mean, let's be real. I throw a leg over the bike. I've got some really true fans, not just followers. They're not just following me because I've won. The guys that are following me are true fans and enjoy the sport and enjoy what I represent. So it would definitely be tough for me to shy away from that, because I do love racing and I don't want to make it to the point where it's not fun. But if I've got to bring more balance in, that's definitely possible. If that's what it takes to get paid to do what I enjoy, then that's what we'll do. But I can promise I'll explore every option before I have to make that decision. Like I said, I really enjoy being able to speak my mind. I enjoy being able to do the things that the other guys can't do, and I think I play it up pretty good. I can say it in a way that I don't piss too many people off usually, but it definitely is a tough line to walk. When you're speaking your mind, not upsetting the wrong people, but I feel like if you go across the parking lot of GNCC, you're going to find 98% of the people have a beer in their hand, 85% of the people deer hunt, fish, something outdoors, and 80% of the people are in some type of construction, whether they're
for just a couple moments, kind of stand by there. There you are. You're back. All right.
Nope, I'm lost. I'm turning around.
Well, Stu, expectations for this weekend. Obviously, you're not expecting a whole lot. Have you had a chance to ride that Yamaha? I've got a couple of questions that's coming through on Facebook also as well. Alicia McCormick says, hi. You can ride the wheels off anything. Can't wait to see you rip this weekend. She loves you at campfires. And they also want to know, what's your diet like? And we'll get to that. Go ahead and talk about that diet. I want to know what is your diet like?
As far as my diet goes, actually, this year I got hooked up with a nutritionist, and I cut a lot of weight earlier in the season. I cut down to 175 pounds, coming from 220, which is where I've been for most of my career, and I wanted to change things up and just try something different. So, I want to say in March, I started changing my diet quite significantly, and at this point, I think I'm taking in roughly 4,500 calories a day, and my calorie is So everything's based.
Everything's 450 pounds.
What's that?
I said at 4,500 calories, you would weigh 400. I mean, you keep eating like that, you're going to weigh 450 pounds.
Well, so everything's based off of my burn on my garment. So everything's based off of what I'm burning, and my average day is 5,000 calories burnt a day. So and I'm doing 40% carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein. Is the rough number. So everything's backed up on an app, and I've got somebody making sure that I'm doing it right. So that was a big thing that I wanted to change for this season.
You look good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And obviously, you were riding very well before the COVID break, and then since all that's gone on, and what you've done in the National Enduro Series, just grabbing a bike and going, basically. I mean, you just grabbed one out of the crate and went racing one weekend, and if you didn't win, you doggone nearly won the thing, if I remember correct. Right?
Yeah, it was pretty close. So that was definitely one to remember there.
I'm sure it was. Now, are you expecting any? I know you hope for. Obviously, you're hoping for, but do you expect that you're going to see big results this weekend?
If I was a gambling man, I would put myself in the fourth place position. I think this track definitely favors my style. when you've ridden a motorcycle as long as I have, even if you don't have your settings exactly right, you can compensate by little things. You know, if your shock is a little fast, you ride your rear brake. If your fork's a little fast, you move your position a little further forward. So, you know, I feel like I'm definitely going to be a little bit behind as far as making sure that everything's set up exactly like I want it. But I do feel like I'm a podium guy. I think, you know, obviously we can't count on Caleb. Now Strang's gone. You know, personally,
I heard something about that. About Josh. What happened to him?
He broke his shoulder in a practice crash, so I believe he's just going to miss one round, and then he'll be back. But yeah, you know, I think Grant's hit or miss, whether he's going to finish or not, and you know, I just don't know. I don't know what the weekend holds, but I would say right around that fourth place position would be kind of my realistic goal. I think Ben's going to do really well here. Obviously, he got his first win here last year after I blew up on the last lap, which was a kind of a heartbreaker. So, you know, I know this track. I know this track suits myself well. This was my best start of the season, and led up to be my best race. I mean, ever. I mean, I led from lap one home all the way to the last lap, and you know, I think Toth has shown us that he's got the speed. So, you know, it could be a KTM sweep, but I feel like I should be right there behind those guys. You know, this for this race, and you know, from there just kind of see where it goes. The next 4 rounds, I know I feel like I definitely struggle in Ohio in the past. I've had really good rides there as well, so you know, I'm not counting that one out by any means, but you know, I think that I should be able to find myself in the podium and back in contention for hopefully battling for the lead by the end of the season.
Realistically, you've looked at it. Obviously, a new bike, new setups, different things like that. Are you prepared for the not so good?
Yeah, you know, this whole year has been not so good. So for me, if it throws something else at me, honestly, I'm numb to it at this point. Hit me again.
So I like the attitude, Stu, because I mean, so many people. I mean, you could tuck tail and run. You could get mad. You could spew off a lot of things. You know, you could go get a new job. You could go get a real job. I guess is that not that what you're doing isn't real work or anything, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of the sacrifices you make and have made. I mean, you could put that all by the wayside and start living kind of a normal Joe Schmo life. Does that not tempt you at all?
In the last few months, after dealing with the industry and realizing how small we are and how big they think they are, I've definitely had that thought cross my mind. You know, it's funny, and if the guys that are in power positions in this industry were anywhere else in the world, I don't think they would make it quite as high as they have. You know, it's a totally different way that they run things. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know that I would ever fully, or that I'm going to fully commit to going away from racing before I said that 3 to 5 years. But I definitely think that thought has crossed my mind more times than it should have at this point. And you know, the only reason it's not because I don't enjoy racing, it's because I don't enjoy the politics that it takes to be at the top. You know, it's in this industry, it's such a small industry that, I mean, they have total control over everything you do. And if you know, take myself, I've proven to be one of the U.S.'s best riders for the last, I don't know, 5 years, and right. You know, I can't even get a ride right now, and it just goes to show the way that they handle things, the way that they can force you out of anything, and realistically, I don't think that I could compete at the top level on my own budget and trying to line up my own sponsors. I mean, you're going to have the backing of the factory team. So, that goes back to where I said, if I got to make changes, I guess I will. I guess I'm going to have to. But, for a long time, it was doing things like the SRT deal and the Tealy Energy deal, and I could, get the factory backing and still kind of do things on my own. And that was definitely the way that I wanted to go. But no, if it came down to it, I don't know that I would go get a normal job, but it's definitely crossed my mind.
So, well, man, I know big changes for you, no matter what. I mean, everything's changing right now. It's been, like you said, it's been a whacked out year anyway. So what better time for this all to happen, I guess, than 2020. And I guess it's kind of silly to ask you if you looked ahead to 2021 at this particular point, but we are in that part of the season. So I guess what you're doing right now is trying to build some bridges with other manufacturers or whatever the case may be, huh?
Yeah, I'm hoping that I build some without burning any. I guess that's the I talked to Kawasaki a good bit, and I obviously rode the bike, but I own that bike. I bought that bike, and it was my only bike, and that was the only option that I had, for this year, is to ride the bike that I bought. And I just couldn't keep it up anymore. I think the Kawasaki is a phenomenal bike, and this weekend I was shying away from it, not because I don't enjoy riding the Kawasaki or anything like that. It's just like I said, a great opportunity that I just couldn't pass up. And having the opportunity to have a team out there in the woods for you, and a fresh bike to ride, race ready. Basically I showed up and grabbed it. I did not have to do any extra work or try to get anything thrown together, aside from getting my suspension done. So, if we can build a bridge there too, that's great.
Yeah, no doubt. So is this a corporate deal? I mean, this is not somebody says, hey, I got some Yamahas here, you can go ride. I got a shop, you can ride out of my shop. Is this something that you would say is a true, legit Blue Crew deal that we got going on this weekend?
Yeah, for the weekend, I've got the support of Yamaha and the Ampro team, and I won't be riding under their tent. I'll be under a tent just beside it, with a couple of conflicting sponsors. But it just it was like I said, an opportunity that I couldn't pass, and nobody else gave me the opportunity. It didn't matter that there was multiple riders injured this season. Nobody else gave me a fighting chance, and that's all I needed, a fighting chance. So these guys were the ones to give it.
Yeah, and it's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel for you, because they reached out to you, right?
It was funny, actually. Right after the Sherco release, where I'd been, where we separated ways, however you want to word that. Corey McDonald, one of my longtime friends, he had messaged me. He's one of the Yamaha mechanics, and he said, "Hey, we've got a bike if you want to go racing." And I told him, I was like, I'm not necessarily ready right now. And I had talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, hey, do you think that there's still any opportunity there? And he said, I'm not sure. I'll have some conversations with Randy and kind of fill him out and let you know. He says, honestly, I don't think so. I don't know what there is. So, I didn't put too much into that. I didn't think too much into it. And he said, hey, I guess last week he said, hey, there's some interest there. If you'd be willing to ride the bike, and, it's not going to be long term. It's not going to be anything, past 1 weekend at a time, and we'll see, kind of see how it goes. And I said, it kind of bounced around a few different ideas on how I wanted to finish the season. It worked out to where Randy got involved and said that he'd throw me on a bike and just see how it went. So, I'm happy with it. And like I said, no strings attached. If things aren't going well and I've got to go get a normal job for the remainder of the season, because that's about where I am. I mean, financially, 6 months without an income and, all the other bills piling up and medical expenses, everything that came in, it was definitely, I'm running low at this point. So if I'm not putting it in a box and I don't have anything coming in, I'm doubt I'll finish the season at this point. But, at least right now we're looking at one race at a time and we'll go for that.
You're not down to selling autographs yet, though, right? You're not charging for autographs yet. It's not that bad yet.
If people would buy autographs, I would sell them.
Be nice to be in that position, but I don't know that I could ever do that. But Stu, man, you're one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Whether you're on the racetrack or off the racetrack, we have worked together in Racer TV during your injury years, I guess you could say. So we've kind of got to know each other a little bit better than the average bear there. I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty excited for you, man. I've been watching this one with bated breath, and when I got the news yesterday, I actually got a picture of you yesterday with the Ampro Yamaha. So I knew pretty much everything that was going on. But I couldn't say anything, obviously. I didn't want to be that person, but I wanted you to be able to. I appreciate you taking the time last night to try to make things work and the time today, because I know time is precious for you right now. You've got to get this machine dialed in and get it ready to race by Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was good that we got to catch up before this. I think a lot of people want to know what's going on, and they can actually hear some of the backstory through this. And like I said, it was good. I'm glad that you did reach out, and we definitely have a lot to move on. These guys are just finishing everything up now, so about to go throw a leg over it and see how it does in the trees. And like I said, by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be out at the track and start pedaling to get ready for Sunday.
Awesome, man.
So not a lot of time to do it.
If you do any social media, tag at 10 Seconds Cast on it if you don't care, and that way
Okay.
I'll see it and I'll be able to watch it and share it and stuff like that. But dude, appreciate you. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to pass along before I let you go?
No, I mean, I'm just glad to be back at the GNCCs and hoping that we have a little bit better weekend than what I'm anticipating, but I'll be happy with the fourth.
Hey, you know what? I would be too after what you've seen. I think you ought to be just happy being there at the races with a leg over a motorcycle and somebody still believing in you. Not that there's any reason not to believe in you, but like you said, the whole corporate politic thing and the way things have been going. I know it's been a scary ride for you, but brother, so happy things are looking in the right direction for you, and good luck, bud.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, that's Stu Baylor, and that's going to wrap things up here as far as today's 10 Seconds XC Off-Road Cast. Be sure and like us on Facebook. Be sure and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and all those great things, and keep us in the loop and keep in loop with what we've got going on. Obviously, we hope to see more and more of these type shows coming. I want to take this opportunity to say a special thanks to some really good people like my good friends at DP Brakes, Larry Mills and the guys over there. I want to say thanks to them. I want to say thanks to Todd and the folks over at Teely Energy Racing. I want to say thanks to David Eller and everyone at Phoenix Racing Honda for believing in and supporting the 10 Seconds XC Off-Road Cast. You guys, you don't know what your support means to me, and of course, all the listeners and everyone that is following. Follow us on YouTube. We do YouTube and we do Facebook videos. I like to lean more towards the YouTube side of things, but follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on all the other social media platforms. We got Instagram, we got Twitter. It's 10 Seconds Cast. So be sure and check it out. On behalf of all of us and on behalf of Stu Baylor, just once again want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. and wish you well. God bless your heart and all your vital organs, and we shall see you soon.